Hi, my name is Raymond Yarbrough, and I'll be forming the summative task for the LUT1 with Western Governors University for you today. In today's difficult economic times, taxpayers and government officials alike are looking for ways to cut costs, become more efficient, and balance budgets. The death penalty laws federally and in many states are an economic burden on society that, if reformed, can save the U.S. residents millions in overall revenue. According to Natasha Minsker of the Northern California ACLU, California counties likely spend at least $22 million more per year seeking execution than they would seeking death in prison by other means. While we're spending more, we're not getting value for our dollar. According to a report by the Death Penalty Information Center, the nation's police chiefs and criminologists concur that the death penalty does not effectively reduce the number of murders in the United States. With these facts, it becomes obvious that in the justice system's current state, the death penalty is an ineffective, unfair, and overly expensive option. The death penalty has incurred many changes in policy and laws and has taken many different forms, from hangings to firing squads, lethal injections, the electric chair, and more. On August 6, 1890, in the basement of Auburn State Penitentiary in the United States' first attempt to execute a criminal via the electric chair took place. Many changes have taken place to the death penalty since then. Some of the more notable changes include proportionality requirement, method of execution, and classes of people not eligible for the death penalty. In 1976, the U.S. Supreme Court defined a new set of precautions to be taken into account in death penalty cases. These precautions have carried large financial consequences. The main trials of first expense involved with the death penalty. With the stakes being so high in death penalty cases, defense costs are much higher, and experts and consultants are often hired. States are often forced to pay as much as twice the attorney's normal going rate. The appeals process is the second expense incurred during the death penalty cases. Many people think we can limit the costs by eliminating appeals. However, when life and death relies on the legal system getting it right, and the appeals process is one of the only ways that we have in place to make sure that we are not convicting and subsequently killing innocent victims, with nearly 140 people freed from the death penalty since 1973 and the appeals process playing a large role in many of their acquittals, the appeal process becomes evident that it's a very vital part of the current death penalty system. The final financial expense that happens during the death penalty is housing and ultimately killing the person that has been found guilty. According to the California Commission on the Fair Administration of Justice, the additional cost of confining an inmate to death row as compared to the maximum security prisons where those sentenced to life without possibility of parole ordinarily serve their sentences is $90,000 per year per inmate. This bar graph clearly details the amount of murders in the year 2009 per 100,000 people in every state in the United States. The information is taken from the Death Penalty Information Center website. This graph clearly proves that the death penalty is not working as a deterrent, as the average murder rate per 100,000 people is higher in states that do have the death penalty than it is in states that do not have the death penalty. In 2009, the average murder rate of the death penalty states was 4.9 per 100,000, while the average murder rate of states without the death penalty was 2.8. This according to the Death Penalty Information Center. This bar graph clearly shows that the looming threat of the death penalty does not act as a deterrent in murder cases across the United States. According to the New Mexico Coalition to Repeal the Death Penalty, modern studies of the death penalty find a correlation between sentencing and race. The studies consistently show that those who kill white victims are much more likely to receive the death penalty than those who kill black victims. Race is not the only factor that points to the unfairness of the death penalty. Women seem to be saved from the death penalty at a much higher rate than men as well, with only 1.87% of the total death row population of about 3,267 being women. The financial drain that the death penalty puts on our judicial system and ultimately on taxpayers cannot be justified. The death penalty at the best can be summed up as unfair and ineffective. Police chiefs and experts agree that the main defense used for death penalty, claiming that it looms over potential criminals and deters crime, is not accurate. The system seems to be skewed at executing white males at a much higher rate than any other race or gender combination. And maybe most importantly, all the facts point to the death penalty being a huge black hole of money that is sucked out of taxpayer dollars into the ineffective system. The only possible solution is complete reform of our justice system. Any questions?
You stated that in California the added cost to house death row inmates is $90,000 a year more than life in prison. Why does it cost more to house them?
It's a fairly great question, a very simple answer. It costs $90,000 more a year to house inmates in death row, where each person has a private cell and extra guards than in general prison population, and that accounts for $57.5 million annually. This according to Roan Tempest of the Los Angeles Times. Any further questions?
In the United States, is the United States the only country that has the death penalty?
No, it's not the only country that has the death penalty. It is one of 60 countries that still use death penalty for ordinary crimes. There are over 120 countries that have abolished the death penalty on at least all crimes except crimes such as crimes under military law or crimes committed in exceptional circumstances. This according to the Death Penalty Information Center. I have time for one last question.
How many people a year get executed in the United States?
The number's been declining over the years. In 2000 it was 85 people. In 2009 it was 52 people. And in 2010, 46 judicial system executions. This also according to the Death Penalty Information Center. Thank you for your time.